If you've been around the manosphere, there's no doubt you've heard of the term pickup artist. These are gurus who will tell you how to pick up women like you're picking up samples at Costco. But there's a few problems with this. And today I want to talk about the pickup artist industry and why nice guys tend to follow their advice and maybe a little bit of like, what's wrong with this? I'm Chuck Chapman. I'm here today with my host, Ari Feisal, and you're listening to The Nice Guys Show. Today, we're going to talk about the pickup artist industry and maybe some ideas about what's not so good in this industry. So I was looking at my Facebook the other day and it popped up this memory that 9 years ago I'd gone up to do my certification training with Robert Glover, who wrote No More Mr. Nice Guy, to become a certified No More Mr. Nice Guy coach. And this was part of his TPI, where he invites a small group of men to come in and figure out about how to overcome their nice guy syndrome. And if you're interested in doing that, please check out drglover.com. You can find the information out there. He still does that. But in this weekend, it was interesting because one of the participants was a pickup artist, and he was amazing. I mean, I had no idea, like, the techniques and things. And we went out to lunch, like the group of us went out to lunch, and he just had the waitress like eating out of his hands. Now, this guy was nothing to really look at. Okay. He was shorter, kind of a little stocky. And I would say, on a scale of handsomeness, he wasn't, like Brad Pitt or anything. He's pretty average. And yet he had this woman like eating out of his hands. And so later that evening, all of us got together and he said he was going to take us to a bar and show us basically some pickup artist tips. And I was also blown away by how easily some of the guys, once they used some of these techniques, started really being able to talk to women and have some conversations with people that they probably wouldn't have done in any other, format. And so it got me really interested in this idea of pickup artistry. And so I started reading some of the books and I started looking at some of the videos and, watching some of the gurus. And if you haven't read Mark Manson's book, Models, also an excellent book, because that was the thing that he was in originally. He was famous becoming a pickup artist. But I started to see a crack in this. And the crack was pickup artistry basically uses some psychological techniques to start building rapport with a woman. And in the pickup artistry, the goal is to get her to sleep with you. Now, the problem that I saw was, and then what? How do you have a relationship with these women? And I think that was something that I started reading on some of the Reddits and different posts about, guys who would, pick up a woman, but then had no idea, no clue what to do next. And so they just kind of tried rinsing and repeating. And after a while, she just, got bored with him and broke up. And then they were wondering what they did wrong. So that was my take on the pickup artistry. And I just wanted to throw this out to you guys, especially you, Faisal, because you've been in the charisma section. You're in the, helping guys get dates and that kind of thing. Have you seen anything in the pickup artistry industry where you would say, that's not working so well?
Chuck, I'm so glad you brought this topic up. I have so much to say on this, so you're going to have to rein me in on this one. But yes, there is so much the pickup artist world. It has two sides. It has one side which is really helpful to the guys, but it also has a very dark side which is unhelpful to longevity of a relationship. And after my divorce, I thought, what the fuck did I do wrong? It was all about, why did I make all these mistakes? And then I just went and did a lot of research. And most guys who've gone through this journey will start to look at, how do I become so good with women? And that was my journey. It's like, how do I become so with women? Because I felt so helpless in this. I felt really powerless in this. And there was this shiny thing, pickup artists, and saying, hey, say these lines and do this word and she'll be in your bed. And you're going, what? Give me the formula. I want it. And I went down the pickup route. I was so curious about it. I, consumed everything. I met pickup artists in London. and I've watched them. I tried a lot of the stuff as well. So I just want to leave it there and let Ari speak. But yeah, and then let's unpack a few things there, because there's something that I do want to share that a lot of pickup artists, especially because I've had so many clients who have gone also to boot camps, and there's some things that they didn't see.
Yeah, I read the game like a lot of men. This was actually before I was married. The Neil Strauss book about pickup, and it definitely piqued my curiosity. But I never really pursued that. I think I had a lot of blocks about approaching women. So that's actually something that I think pickup artistry is. It does help men potentially with approaching women and just getting more comfortable with that. So yes, you can learn that without becoming a pickup artist, but it is something that practicing that could potentially help with. I think like you guys were saying, it doesn't help you know how to be in a relationship with a woman, and it it's not teaching you how to be a high value man. It's not teaching you to have a full life, where you have your friendships, your hobbies, your practices, things that are actually going to appeal to a woman in the long run. So I think that's one of the main things wrong with pickup artistry is it's just about picking up and sleeping with women. It's not about how to be in relationship and really to develop yourself. So I think those are some of the key ways that it fails men.
And I think when you're younger, you just want to get laid, and, the funny thing was, as I was getting into this, I was like, me and my, back in the day, me and my buddy were pickup artists before the term was ever invented. And we were wingman before the idea of wingman ever was a term, but we were just sort of naturally came to some of the same things as far as like picking up women and just having confidence and going in and my thing was like I could pick women up, but I was a terrible boyfriend. I was terrible at keeping a woman. I was so neurotic and nice and all of that, and that I ended up not being able to have a girlfriend for very long. And so I'm interested, Faisal, in you kind of going a little bit more deeper into this and to tell me what you've seen and what your experiences have been. It sounds like you're the one that has a lot of experience with this, and this is kind of like has been at least your sort of brand and demographic for the last several years is helping men develop charisma and getting dates.
That's where
Yeah,
you wear that big like top hat, right? Or that magician's
yeah, like
hat. That's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
yeah, like mystery, right? Peacocking.
Uh-huh.
So what I wanted to say is pickup artistry is not new. It's been around since humans been around. They go back to the caveman day. There was very competent men who were able to, approach the women in the tribe and get laid. So it's nothing.
You don't have to go back
new.
that far. You can go back to the 80s when I was.
Yeah, but go back there. So yeah, here's how I see pickup artistry now. The skills of it now has given men the equal playing field to women, because women have this. I compare it to, it's like makeup, the push-up bra, low-cut tops, short skirts, heels. That's what they use to attract a mate. So now the guys are thinking, well, we can't use push-up bras, we can't use short. Well, shouldn't, but yeah, we can't use all of these techniques. So what is it for us? The only thing that men have is that confidence, that balls approach, and be really comfortable in his own skin. The reason why pickup works and is effective at getting the woman, getting the attention, getting her to a bed, but not a good relationship, is because it's pure marketing. And how the pickup skills were developed, in my thesis, is that 80% of consumers or consumer decisions are female. So marketing really works. And what's happened is they used all the marketing skills, and rather than selling a product, they're now selling themselves. So pickup uses a lot of marketing skills. Now, I've known guys who've done a lot of pickup, and then they come to me and say, well, Faisal, I feel really empty inside. And that was my experience. You become competent, which was like, wow, I have a lot more power. I can approach women. I was dating attracting and meeting nines, tens, and it came to a point it was effortless. I'd go to places where I've never been to, bars, nightclubs, and I still felt really nervous inside, but because I'd done it so much that I just overrode that anxiety, and then I would be talking to girls. And I'd slept with some incredibly hot women, and it gave you that opportunity. But then what happened is what happens afterwards. And I remember a friend of, actually a client of mine, and he did the whole pickup stuff, boot camps. He did everything, and he had an apartment with other guys who were pickup artists as well. So there was like 5, 6 of them. And he remembered that he was at the apartment one night, and one of the guys brought home 2 girls, and it was great. They were all having fun. And what he realized was this guy had no substance. He had really bad avoidant attachment styles. He was very anxious avoidant. And as he got into the relationship, he watched the relationship just go sour and sour and worse and worse and worse. And he saw that, because there was a lot of nice guy traits coming up, he was afraid to have conflicts. He would hide what he really meant. All the persona that he had to attract her, where he showed he's this really confident guy, became this indecisive, unsure guy, not really sure of himself. He became more meek, and then he'd be like, well, whatever you want. So the guy that was the persona of like really confident man wasn't the guy in the relationship, because at that point he had fused. So his lot of enmeshment started to show up. His codependency started to show up. His need for approval started to show up. So there was a lot of the traits or the psychological stuff or the fractures that hadn't been addressed in pickup, because pickup doesn't go deep. It just goes to the marketing level. So in other words, you've got the great product, you've got the great marketing, but for a very bad product. That's what pickup is.
Yeah, you just described me in my 20s. I mean, I was, could talk to women, but couldn't keep them around for, anything. And I just got really neurotic and nice guy behavior. And again, I think that like the pickup artist techniques will get you in the door, but they won't help you stay around. And so I'm not saying everything is wrong with the pickup artist industry, but that the next level, I think, is learning how to be in relationship. One of the things that's also kind of come across my radar recently is that the same guys that are sort of preaching pickup artistry and women and that kind of thing are now talking about you don't want a woman with a high body count, which is just kind of ironic in terms of the idea of pickup artistry is to pick up a woman to sleep with her. But then when it comes to relationship, you don't want to pick a woman with a high body count. And so it just is sort of this counterintuitive thing of, the industry says, go out, pick up women and sleep with them. Right. But if you can sleep with a woman on the first date, she's not somebody that you want to keep around with. And I think there's
some validity to that. I think that's a really good point, only because the women, if you want to sleep around a lot, you need a promiscuous woman.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
If you want an investment material, then you don't want somebody who sleeps around a lot. And there's a different dynamic for men and women. And again, we did a body count podcast as well. Here's the thing. Again, if you're let's look at it rather than a pickup guys who just want to get laid and that's it. But let's look at men who really do want to become good men, develop good relationships. You want to get the experience. I always say to the guys, you lack 3 things, the EEE, right? So the first E is you lack conscious dating experience. Second E is you lack the experience to enter a relationship with a good woman. And the third is the exit, because we stay way too long in a bad or unhappy relationship. And what the pickup does, it allows you to get a lot of experience. I mean, you don't have to. There were so many women I did not sleep with. There were so many. Actually, I would say 80% of the women I met, we might have kissed and smoked, but most of them I didn't sleep with. But most of the women I did get to learn about what I like about women and what I don't like for a good woman to have. Some guys obviously will just use it to get laid. Some guys will just use it to get a lot of conscious experience. But that's the problem with a lot of men who use pickup is they stop. They stop at the growth level of, I got the girl, that's it. I'm not going to look more into my deeper issues. And this is the problem with, red pill and everything. You need to go deeper because it just becomes, I'm just going to use women for my own satisfaction. That's a very narcissistic approach. So don't stop at a certain level. Just keep the development, keep the growth.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the body count thing goes too far. That women can go through a more promiscuous period in their life. That doesn't mean that they'll always be that way. Just like men do. It might be their own process of learning and growth. I'd prefer a woman who has experience and who knows herself. That's my preference.
Yeah. Well, we did a whole podcast on body count, and came to some of those same conclusions on that. As far as knowing how to be in a relationship with a woman, what's some of your advice that maybe we would share with the guys today? Like, you're in the door. Now, how do you stick around?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like, okay, so you've done the pickup part. Where's part two? Where is this part to it? That's doing the nice guy recovery work. That's dealing with all the issues you've ignored, dealing with anxiety, dealing with your nerve system, nerve fracture, I call it. Then also dealing with the ego, how ego comes into it. You might be easily offended, get to sport brat reflex, you might become passive aggressive. These are the things that we don't get taught. There'll be a lot of things about pickup never even mentions about, I'm feeling obsessive about her, I'm feeling really needy about her. How am I going to get my own needs met? How am I going to be able to communicate this, address this as like an adult rather than... See, the thing with a lot of pickup stuff and red pill stuff is, again, they have some really good sides to it, but they also have some very avoidant sides to it. Because a lot of the guys are very avoidant. They don't want to do the conflict stuff. They always want to get a woman that's really easy rather than actually getting a good woman, because a good woman's not going to be always subservient to you and say, yes, whatever you want, whatever you want. I mean, I've been with women like that, and after a little while, it becomes boring. I want a woman who can look after herself, take care of herself, take care of the situation, and then we have a great teamwork dynamic. And this is what I think a lot of red pill misses. And I think we should definitely do a podcast on red pill as well. So dealing with shame, dealing with conflict, dealing with doing the difficult stuff, taking responsibility, being guided, not being the savior complex in the relationship, dealing with the codependency. There's so many things that the pickup artist stuff that completely misses out, because it's very much like marketing. Get the product, but is it a good product? No, because you haven't done the other part, which makes it a good, sustainable stuff.
Or do you have any advice on how to keep a relationship going?
Well, I think one of the things is, clarifying what are the qualities you're looking for in a woman. Like, it can't just be the surface qualities of appearance, or whether you can get her into bed. Are you looking for a woman that is passionate, that is ambitious, is articulate, is family oriented? I don't hear about any of that in the pickup community. So getting really clear about what your really great woman looks like, your deal breakers, I think that's part of it. And a lot of that inner work that Faisal was talking about, knowing what your relationship patterns are, based in your childhood. And you do need that relationship experience of, being in relationship with a woman to see how you enact things from your past and start to transcend that. Having hookups and short-term flings doesn't give you that kind of relationship experience. So I think those are my take homes. There's no substitute for getting into a relationship with someone and getting deep with someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you said about values as well, because that's so important, values and virtues. There's a quote, her looks will bring you to her, but it's her character, her values that will raise the child. So it's, it's not looks that are going to be raising her. It's the character. What is she like? And for most guys, they stop at, oh, I've got a really hot girl. That's it. Okay, kudos to me. It's status. It's, trophy wife. I'm the man because I've got the trophy wife. They'll just stop at that.
Yeah.
Very egotistical. But
Yeah, one of the things I tell my guys is that, relationships actually require work and maintenance and ongoing learning about yourself. Robert, Dr. Glover talks about, a relationship being your personal growth machine, and that you'll grow more in the context of being in relationship than outside of it. And I think when it comes to personal growth, growing in the context of relationships, so learning how to communicate, learning how to express your needs, understanding, like the polarity that you're creating and the tension that you're creating in the relationship to continue to keep the relationship vibrant and going, to understand even like the neurobiology of creating connection and contact. And that, one of the things that happens with guys is, we like our comfort, so we want to do the same thing day after day after day. And when we do this, that kills the biological hormone of oxytocin, which is the chemical that creates the attraction. You do something new all of the time, and that creates more attraction. One of the reasons my wife and I, why I've made it a priority in our relationship to go on a, extended good vacation, always someplace different, is because that's an investment in my relationship. For 2 to 3 weeks, we're visiting some country. We're in a completely foreign place where we don't know anything, we don't know anybody, and we're relying on each other. And I got to tell you that some of the most deepest connections have come from doing those things. So always doing something different and creating and consciously creating connection in your relationship. That is what's going to make the relationship last and be strong.
it's the depth that you get from it as well. And also, it's not just the relationships. I realized doing the deeper work, the inner work, it also gave me the opportunity to have deeper connections with my children, with my family, because again, it's the same relationship patterns. And also, I want to say something that we haven't touched on, and it's really important, is what kind of women end up responding to the pickup artist stuff. And usually those women, I find, it's my opinion, usually have low self-esteem, low self-worth. They don't really, they have low confidence about themselves. And when they get this guy with all this pickup artist stuff, it's like, whoa, wow, this is amazing. And she too then looks at the guy at superficial level. She's not looking at his deep virtues, what's really behind him. When she gets him, she's really disappointed, and he's really disappointed. So you've got these two people connecting at the surface level. Now, when I see secure women, and I've been out with secure women, and I've seen guys trying to hit on. I've got friends who are very secure, very emotionally secure, really great virtues, values. And I've seen guys hit on her, and the guys with the best pickup skills, they're getting nowhere because
the women sees through it. They see through the shtick. Yeah.
She sees through it. She knows that this is just egotistical, superficial stuff. But the women with low self-esteem, like, oh my God, oh wow, he's the one. I want this. So that's what she's thinking. But with the secure women, she's like, I'm not gonna touch it. There's no way.
Yeah. And I think that's the point I try to make with the guys I coach is like, the more solid you become in yourself, the more healthy you become in yourself, actually the healthier women you start to attract in your life. If you're not healthy, if you have low self-esteem, you're going to attract women with low self-esteem. If you have, if you're egotistical, you're going to attract women who are egotistical. You working on yourself is probably the most important thing in terms of becoming the healthy you, so that you actually attract healthy into your life. Because you can be in a relationship, okay, but it can be shitty and hard and difficult, or you can be in a relationship where you got two people who are working together to try to create something, to co-create a dynamic of, a culture of gratitude and appreciation and love in the context of constantly creating connection with each other. And to me, I would rather have that than be in a relationship with somebody who's hot, but I'm constantly having to try to appease her and make her happy.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for tuning into the Nice Guys Show. Check out niceguyshow.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. And also, if you like this episode, check out Evolving Beyond the Nice Guy, Becoming the High Value Man. That's episode number 29 in there. And so check that out. It talks a little bit more about how you become a high value man, how you move into not just being a pickup artist, but actually being a man of high values and attracting high value women into your life. Thanks again, and we will see you next time on The Nice Guy Show.
You've been listening to The Nice Guy Show with certified Nice Guy recovery coaches Ari Graff, Chuck Chapman, and Faisal Khokhar. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can listen to our latest episodes and visit us on www.theniceguysshow.com. If you have any topics you'd like to hear us discuss, send us an email at support@theniceguysshow.com. Thanks for listening.